Around Hollywood last night, or today, Joe Brumman's Chinese Theater was playing the Turner Classic Movies. I thought they were going to have like a movie premiere of a new film, but instead they decided to have a premiere of really vintage movies. I want to know how much the tickets cost. They're probably really expensive. It must be kind of cool to watch old-fashioned movies on the big screen. They're mostly classic black and white movies. I want to know what type of movies are they. Are they crime films? Or are they like The Wizard of Oz or Gone with the Wind? They're classic movies from the 30s. It's kind of interesting that black and white movies are a lot different from today's movies. Back in my day, the movies were kind of like the black and white movies. Well, I don't know if Harry Potter is more comparable to black and white movies of the 30s or 40s whatsoever. It's a fantasy film, of course. I think Harry Potter is based on The Wizard of Oz, don't you think? Except Harry Potter takes place in the suburbs, and The Wizard of Oz takes place in farmland of America. London, England in the suburbs, to the farmlands of America. It's kind of funny about The Wizard of Oz, where everything's in black and white. Compared to Harry Potter, everything's in color. But in the Muggle world where Harry Potter lives in, some of the trains and cars look like spaceships from science fiction movies, don't you think? The Muggle world doesn't look that bad. They have spaceship cars in it. They have really old-fashioned houses, and the people look really old-fashioned. Vintage people driving spaceships? That's kind of cool. If you guys are from England, do people in your country drive spaceship cars? I know people in my country drive spaceship cars as well. Some of our cars are a little bit crappy. Well, think about Los Angeles. Half the city's kind of rotten. It's such a shame to live in a rotten city. Well, I'm not going to talk about Harry Potter right now. I'm talking about classic movies. What type of movies can you think of are classic movies? Throughout my lifetime, the movies I know are classics, like Forrest Gump is a classic. Do you think Forrest Gump should be a classic movie played in the theater? Well, it's not made in the 30s, it's actually made in the 90s with lots of CGI special effects. But the storyline's very a classic, of course, about a man with a very low IQ. It's really good at running, of course. That's a classic movie, of course, with Tom Hanks. What about the part where he's sitting down on the bench? That's a classic scene of Forrest Gump. Do you guys think? That's a classic movie. Should be played at the Turner Classic Movies at the theater. What other black and white movies can you think of are classics? My parents are big fans of classic movies, of course. What about myself? I only watch videotapes about trains and CGI movies. Not black and white movies. Maybe because I grew up in the time in like trains and boats and stuff like that, and CGI. Do you guys think Jurassic Park movies, like the previous ones, not the new ones, are classic movies? Like the first movie? It's a colored movie with lots of CGI special effects. It has a charm like a 1930s movie, don't you think? I would think King Kong should be displayed at the Turner Classic Movies. King Kong's a really good black and white movie. The only thing I know about King Kong growing up is actually the remake by Peter Jackson back in 2005. Now, that was a classic movie. That was a really cool monster movie I saw when I was a kid. Remember this one part of the movie where King Kong was playing with the T-Rex's mouth? People at the movie theater were laughing. Yeah, this movie is fantastic. Do you guys think The Battle of Britain, that's a British movie, The Battle of Britain from 1969, is a classic movie, should be displayed at that movie theater? You know, at the festival? That's a classic movie, but it's not black and white. It's in color. It's one of my dad's favorite movies. The Battle of Britain tells a story about fighter planes during World War II to fight the Germans. I did not know World War II movies were really big back in the 60s. They were famous action movies. I don't know what action movies were very famous back in my day. Just a bunch of lame kid spy movies. Anyways, continue on. Speaking about World War II movies that were made in the 60s, do you guys remember the movie called The Great Escape? That's a classic movie, of course, but I did saw half the movie as a kid, but I do remember the picture of some guy in the barbed wire who has a lot of, like, cuts and bruises and stuff like that. I felt sorry for him. Oh, it's a movie about some guy escaping from a POW camp. And the theme song is really famous, though. Do you guys know The Great Escape movie's influence on the Chicken Run movie? Kind of interesting, isn't it? Well, if you think of World War II movies that are classics, do you guys think Saving Private Ryan should be displayed at a festival? That's a classic World War II movie. But it was made back in the 90s, directed by Steven Spielberg. but it's kind of like the first modern World War II movie ever created. It's also an influence on video games I like to play. It tells a story, well, I guess I'm not going to tell you the story. U.S. Army Ranger Squadron on a mission to save a paratrooper during the D-Day invasion to bring him back home. Many interesting World War II movies I told you have unique plots. From Great Britain, it's The Great Escape, and it's the Battle of Britain. In America, the The Great Escape. In the United States, Saving Private Ryan. And they're from two of these movies from the 60s, and one movie is from the 90s. Kind of interesting, isn't it? Can you imagine watching the Battle of Britain and The Great Escape at the film festival at the Chinese Theater in Hollywood? It would be kind of epic, though, for the Turner Classic Movies Festival. You can watch them at home on streaming. I think the movie probably plays the film Casablanca. That's a famous movie from the 1940s, which is a World War II propaganda. And the most famous line in the movie is, "Here's looking at you, kid." And what about Gone with the Wind? "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn." That's another famous line in that movie. Those are really famous movies of the 40s and the 30s, with charming guys in love with, pretty women. That's a typical plot line of an old-fashioned movie. What about my day? What were movies back in my day when I was a kid are romantic movies? Well, Spider-Man's a romantic movie between Peter Parker and Mary Jane. Well, that's kind of like an old-fashioned 1930s movie, don't you think? What about the Harry Potter movies? Are they romance movies as well? I don't think so. It's mostly about Harry Potter hangs out with Ron and Hermione. I don't know. What about Pixar movies? Are they romance movies as well? It's more about friendship between two guys, not one guy and one woman, like Toy Story and Monsters, Inc. Two guys who hang out together. But I think The Incredibles is the first romantic movie Pixar ever created. It is kind of like a charm of a 1940s romantic movie between a superhero girl and a superhero guy. I'm just telling my knowledge about war movies because it came from my parents. My dad is a really big fan of classic war movies, from The Great Escape and the Battle of Britain, because he grew up watching those movies. It's kind of cool that a lot of kids in the 60s grew up watching really exciting movies about war. Back in my day, what type of movies we had back in my youth? Well, Pixar movies, they're pretty exciting. The Spy Kids movies, not that great. The Harry Potter movies, a little bit boring. But they are cute, though. Like, when you go inside the train station part is the best part in Harry Potter. They should make the plotline about trains. Wouldn't that be kind of cool? Actually, the most famous action movies of the 2000s era that I grew up in are the Fast and the Furious movies. Have you guys ever seen those movies about cars? They're kind of stupid, aren't they? But the most popular films back in my day were kind of like comedy films about guys acting like morons. It's kind of interesting, back in my parents' day, they used to watch movies about really smart people. Can you imagine Pixar making a movie set during World War II? That would be kind of cool, don't you think? I kind of forgot about this one movie that's kind of like the first World War II movie I saw in my lifetime. Oh yeah, the Peter Pan cartoon sequel. Do you guys remember the Peter Pan cartoon sequel? It's set during World War II. What's the story anyway? It's about this little girl whose dad's a soldier going on this old-fashioned truck about to fight in war. The film takes place in London in the olden days. Not in America, of course. And Captain Hook kidnaps the girl from her room and flies with a ship with his henchmen. Well, the airplanes are flying over London. Shouldn't the airplanes intercept Captain Hook's boat and save that girl's life? I don't think that's going to work. That will kill the girl. Did they have helicopters in those days? If they had helicopters, they'll save that girl in seconds. Well, yeah, Apache gunships and Blackhawks. They'll be able to save that little girl in time. I thought that trailer was pretty scary when that little girl got kidnapped by Captain Hook. Don't you agree? Do you guys think The Iron Giant is kind of like a World War II movie? That should be displayed in Turner Classic Movies. That is a classic cartoon movie, of course. But the film takes place in the 1950s, which is after World War II. Some of the soldiers in the movie were inspired by World War II soldiers, as a homage to 1950s B movies. I think I would love to go to that film festival someday to watch all sorts of old-fashioned movies.